Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we'll talk about, this is in continuation of the previous video. So we'll talk about how do you combine all the files that we downloaded, the Bhav copies that we downloaded from 1st of January till 6th of August. This is all the data that we already saved it in a data path for us. So how do you combine all of this data into one single Excel file? Now there are different formats which you can save it in, but in this video let's just cover how do you at least get to one Excel file. So I'll just continue in this particular Jupyter notebook that I started. So I'll just import one more library called glob. This glob library basically is good to get a list of all the files that are in a particular directory with a particular extension. What do I mean by that is uh, this data path folder. So this data path, how do I get a list of all the .xlsx file that I have, right? So what I can do is a list of Bhav copies is equals to glob. They have a module inside that package glob. Uh, how do I do this? os.path, sorry, typos, os.path.join, go to data path and find any .xlsx file, right? Or you can do something like, if you have multiple xlsx files with different names apart from the Bhav copies, you can just do something like star Bhav. So anything before Bhav can be variable, but as long as the file has Bhav in it, it will get captured. So now if I have to see list of Bhav copies, it's empty. So I did a mistake somewhere. So glob.glob Bhav.xlsx. Oh, so this is in CSV format. It's not in XLSX format. So let me just change that to CSV. And now I have all the list of files. So there are 148 files in that folder. So if I check, I have got 148 files here as well. So list of Bhav copies. Now, in order to combine all of these Bhav copies, let's just take one Bhav copy and see what the format looks like. Let's just convert that into a Pandas data frame. Okay. How do I do that? Basically, let's just say PD, which is pandas dot read CSV, because this is a CSV file, and give it the path where the file is. So we are giving this particular path. We are just taking one file right now, the index 0. So let's look what this df looks like. Okay, the data frame. So you have 2012 entries into 14 columns, symbol series, open, high, low, close, blah blah blah. Let's just quickly see which file did we pick up. So we picked up the 1st April 2021 Bhav copy file right now, which is at the top, probably by the naming convention. Yeah, so let's quickly see how many rows of data do we have. 2012, so it's matching. Yeah. Now, we have another column called unnamed 13 with blank values, NaN, which is not clearly visible here, but we still have it for some reason in the file. So let's start by dropping that column, because we clearly don't need it. So df.drop columns is equals to unnamed 13. Oops, that did not work. Unnamed 13 did not found in access. So let's just get the names of all the columns by df.columns, and look at that. That is basically unnamed. There is a space here, which is why maybe it was not found. Oops. Let me just delete this whole thing. And now it was dropped. But if I try and run df again, you'll still find it there. So basically you need to say in place is equals to true, which means like make that change to the original data frame. And now if I run this particular thing is gone. So now I only have the data that I need. Now what else? So in the column names, everything looks fine. Let's just see what the data frame overall looks like. So I can do df.info. It will tell me, okay, so this is an object like this is more probably a string. I see 2012 values. I see most of them has 2012 values, but the series has 2007 values. So we have probably five missing values somewhere in that column on particular rows. But that's not important. That's not really an important column for us, but we'll still keep it. All the other objects like the open, high, low, close are in float, which you would expect that because your prices can be in decimals like uh, x point y, something like that. Trade quantity has to be in integers. It can always be a whole quantity. Fractional trading is not allowed in India. Allowed in allowed in India. So total trade value again is in floats. Timestamp is an object. This should be in datetime format, but don't worry about that. We'll convert that later on, or probably prior. It doesn't really matter. Uh, yeah, give me a second. Just referring to my article because even I forget it sometimes. And total trades is also in integers, which is fine because the total trades will again be in whole numbers if the total trade quantity is whole numbers, and then the object ISIN, which is a string, so that's fine as well. And as you can see, this is using around 204 KB of memory of my RAM, which is fine. This is a small number, this is not a big number, but let's see what this number comes to when we are combining all that Bhav copies into one single data frame before saving it. Okay. uh, let's quickly, whenever we are dealing with data, it's good to check that everything, like how many unique entries are there, and are these entries in the standard format. So this looks good. If I check for CDs, this looks good as well. When I wrote the articles in February, these files were kind of messed up because you had blank spaces in there, like there were uh, leading and trailing spaces. Like in the screenshot you see there is an extra space there, which is kind of annoying because some files have it, some files don't have it. So I'll just show you, and if you come across that scenario, how do you deal with this. So you basically just do df dot columns. So what happens if I write df dot columns? It tells me all the values. What I'm saying is df dot columns dot strings dot replace, if there is any white space, which is a space, replace that with nothing. And this is fine because we don't have anything right now. So uh, this is fine, but some of the files, when you go to older versions 2016, 27, they will have this white space, which gets annoying because you're trying to call df series, and what actually is present in those files is this. Now when you're trying this right now in this version, it will not work. So it's better just to remove all the white spaces at the very start, so that you have continuity and stability in your program. Okay. And then you need to remove all the white spaces in all the anywhere that's present in your database, in your data frame basically. So what this is doing is df.apply lambda is like a function. Wherever you are checking that any value in the data frame, if it's a string, which is x.dtype is equals to object, you see everything wherever we are mentioning strings like a name, which is not a number, it stores as object. So basically if it's an object, then strip what strip would do. So let's say we have Yash, that's my name. If I do strip here, it strips all the white spaces, right? So if that particular value, if it's a string, then strip of any white space. If it's an object, else don't do anything, because you'll come across these integer values. If I let's say try to strip 70 dot strip, it will tell me an invalid syntax. If I do this as a string, then this is fine. But let's say int 70 dot strip, invalid syntax, sorry, syntax. So yeah, this will basically do that for us, and it will automatically adjust our database for any white spaces that we have. So let me just delete this because we already have this. And I mentioned this in more detail in my article, because in the article I'm trying to collate all the data from last 5 years, so you have much more wider data set there, I think. So let's just delete this, and this is done. So now if I look at my DEF, nothing has changed from our perspective. White spaces are anyway not visible, so but we have got rid of them anyway. Uh, Now comes the next step where we want to like read all the files and append them to this database, right? So if I just look at the article, yeah, so things of the next step that I've mentioned there is to convert it in the timestamp column. So if you remember, the timestamp column is in object format, which is in string format. What do I mean by that is if I just, so this is the timestamp format. If I just take the first entry here, you see this colons here, this is like basically this is a string. If I want to confirm that, just do a type, and that's a string, right? But it's actually a date. We want the data type to be date. So how do I convert that? So pandas has a function called pd dot to date time, and I'll just give this that, and let's see what happens. So it converts it into a timestamp based format, right? And now if I want to just convert that whole column, this timestamp column, into the format, so I'll just do time stamp is equals to pd.datetime df.timestamp. I'll remove this 0 because I don't want only the first value to convert. I want the whole column to convert. And now if I check for df.info again, you see this date time 64. So basically our existing column has been converted. Let me just verify that with the first entry as well. So yeah, that's there. Let me just see the 100th entry, that's there as well. So this is fine. Now let's look at the, so in this data frame, our index, which is this additional column here, 0 1 2 3 4, this is like a serial number column that you would put in an Excel spreadsheet. But let's say if you're combining all these files from 1st of January till 6th of August, you want to get a data on a particular day or for a particular ticker on a particular time range. You would want that data to be filtered via the timestamp, right? Not via index, because you wouldn't know that after 2012 my data for 1st of January is over, the new data starts. It's very difficult to track. So what we can do is we can set our timestamp column as the index, which will help us in filtering. So df.set index time stamp, if I do that, what happens right now is that that column got disappeared and we have the timestamp column as the index. And what I'll just do is in place is equals to true, that make that change to my original database. I don't care. And now if you see, it's all good. uh, let's quickly see how many series do we have, like unique series. So you've got multiple series here, right? And each of those series mean something. But in reality, I think so. I've mentioned this in one of my articles, the link trade with Python. Sorry, guys, I just need to find that link. Uh, yeah, here I have mentioned a ticker tip link, which will tell you. Ooh, they removed that link. Okay, so I need to fix my article. Oh no, this one here. So they have mentioned everything about what each stock category means or series means. So EQ, BE, BL, BT, blah 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 blah. So many of them. In reality, we would only need EQ, BE. So EQ is the normal which permits intraday transactions. BE is you can only trade once you've got the delivery of the stock. And then the third one which I wanted to cover was the SM. So SM stock series is basically for the upcoming SMEs. SM stock series NSE. NSE's official website. Where is SM? Yeah. So in a rolling settlement, each trading day is considered as a trading period and blah blah blah. Trading in SME security. So these are, small companies which are SME size. So I think so. There are some famous companies in that segment. Let's quickly open one Bhavcopy data and filter for NSE. Sorry, SM. So you've got a couple of companies there. 48 companies in there on 1st of April 2021, and some of them are famous. So let's just stick to these three categories where we want to capture the data, which is EQ, BE, and SM. So let's say I want to build a new data frame, which is of only consisting of these three series. So DF series dot is in uh, this list. What is this list? This is a list which contains those uh, series codes. So now if I check for my new DF, you'll see the rows have changed from 2012 to 2012 entries to 1770 entries because we filtered only to those series. So if I check for my series column and check the unique entries in there, you've got only those three entries, which tells me it worked. Okay, so new df dot head will just show you the first five entries. Okay, so now that we know we need to reach at the stage, so whenever we are reading a file, first we need to drop that unnamed 13 column from there. Then we need to remove any white space that is present in the column name or in the data frame overall. Then we need to convert our timestamp object to date time, and then we need to filter only for these particular three series. So let's just build a loop. So let's say for files in list of Bhav copies. Okay, print files. So this is like all the paths that we'll be reading. So what is the first step that you'll do? Df is equals to pd dot read csv, read that files. Okay, the next step that you'll do is drop that you know column that you have. So all of this is already done. We are just reinforcing it. Then you would remove all of that white space and everything. Oops. Let's just get rid of this comments. Df.apply. And then finally what you would do is convert the timestamp columns, and then you will filter for new df. Now what do you do with this new df? Let's say you want to print. Let's just first try this for the first five files. Okay, now this basically is printing. Let me print new data frame. Okay, so this was the first data frame. Oh, sorry, this was the first data frame. Then the second one. You see the rows have changed. So 1770 rows, then 1756 rows, then 1751 rows. So the stocks, either the series have changed, they have downgraded or upgraded, or there are new stocks coming in, or some stocks have delisted. Anything can happen. Um, so basically, if I've got that new DF, how do I basically take that data and push it into one single data frame? Okay, so let's just create a dummy data frame. So let's just call it final df is equals to pd dot data frame. Okay, and if I check this final df, what's in there? There's nothing, right? It's empty. If I check final df dot empty, yeah, it's empty. So if I want to convert that database, so let's just say print, sorry, just so you know which file we are processing. Let's just add in a print command. So we'll do it as an f string. So processing file and then the name of the file, which will be files. Okay. Now, yeah, cool. So once you have got the new df, just new final df is equals to final df dot append new underscore df. Okay. Hopefully this should work. Let's just do it for all the entries. So now it's processing all those files. Okay, so it processed all of that. That was pretty quick actually. Let's look at our final df. So we have got around 264,201 records, and this is the combination of all the Bhav copies. But something looks wrong to me here because the timestamp was not converted to index. So I missed one step here. So df dot set index, df dot set index, and then the timestamp in place is equals to true. Okay. Oops, I cannot run that again because I need to reinitialize my final underscore df variable. Otherwise, we'll have double entries. Let's just wait for that to finish. You see, this is a little slower than the last time. Probably the set index command is taking a lot of time. Who knows? Okay, so it processed all those files. Now, if I look at my final df, you see, this is kind of messed up. We have got double the rows, we have got that particular index, and then this index. So this is messed up. So let's just reinitialize final df again, make it empty, and then rerun this program. Okay, it ran. So if I check my final df now, now it's in a good format, right? It's in a timestamp format, and you have all the dates. So what date did we process? 31st of May. Do we have August data in there? Yeah, let's just do df dot sort. I don't know if that's a command. I don't remember. Sort index maybe. Yeah. So you've got data till 6th of August. That index was not sorted. So and I'll just mention in place is equals to true. So now you have this file which has all the data you need, right? You from 1st of January till 6th of August. Let's say you want to filter the data for this particular stock called Zuari. So final df, I'll do the filtering. So final df where the symbol is equals to Zuari, and then just enter it. So now you have a time series. What's a time series? Basically, for a range of dates, you have a range of open, high, low, close, price, and volume, and all that sort of stuff. So this is called a time series. Now, if you notice, this series for Zuari was changed from EQ to BE. Let's say you want to save this data only for Zuari stock. So I'll just store this in a new variable called Zuari df. Zuari underscore df dot, let's say, Excel, and then just save it as Zuari dot xlsx. Okay, so it gave me an error. No module name open Excel. So let's just install that module. You might probably face that same error if you have installed it with me. So I'll quickly activate my environment first. Remember always to activate your environment. Do not accidentally install it in your base environment. So I think so. Apparently, Conda. Oh wait, so I did the spelling wrong. Sorry. Conda install open pixel. Yep. So Y, and that should be done. And if I try this again now, this might take a while for the first time after I've installed the module, because it's, going in the background and calling that. Okay, so it worked. Now let's quickly see where have I saved it. Here it is, zuari.xlsx. And this has all the data that, filtered for just the Zuari stock in a time series based format. Now if you want to show this data as to how the Zuari stock performed in form of a bar graph, or in form of a line chart, you can do that in Excel as well. You can do that in Python as well with other plotting libraries, which we can show later on, but that's not important. That's not the scope. And if you want to store this whole data, so let's quickly see how many, the info of this data. Object float load, all of this looks good, and you see we are utilizing around 26 MB up from 250 kbs of one file. We have now processed 148 files, and we are at 26.2 kb. If I want to save this data, let's say we want to save this in CSV, uh, NSE Bhavcopy 0101 2021 to 0608 2021 dot CSV. And this is just initializing, it's down, like it's pushing it to the CSV file, still running. And we have around 24 MB of data. The cell has run. If I just open this up, oof, Excel doesn't like me. Oh no, this is not the one. This is the April Bhav. Yeah, this is the one. So you have all the data till 6th of August. Now you can do your regular old filtering here as well. Reliance, you get all the data. You can do your conditional formatting as well, that whenever the stock price was above 2000 and all of that here in Excel as well. But yeah, I mean, you can do the same thing with Python as well. If the stock price was above 2000, fill it with a red color, so it gives you an idea as to how many days it was above, it was below, all of that. So basically data, you can use the data as like any way you want. But yeah, this video was just to show you about how do you use that data which you downloaded and convert that into one file. Now there are more efficient ways of saving this data, because uh, 26 MB is still okay. You are just dealing with 5 or 6 months of entry. If you want to go back from 1997 and download all the data for analysis, this will become quite a big population of database. So we will look at more advanced ways of saving this data. But for now, this is it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. If the code breaks or something, do check out the blog, because the blog again is a little bit more detailed, like because we were utilizing 5 years worth of data, so there were a couple of more challenges there. So do check it out. If you want to see the whole code, uh, it should be available on GitHub on the Trade with Python repository as well. So if you go to Trade with Python blogs and go to codes on blog, you will have something Bhavcopy data aggregation, which is that loop which we have just built. So you can just copy it from here and use it in your code. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the content of this video, please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you.